Hey everybody, welcome back to our learning together. It's been a while since I've gotten to learn with all of you, so I'm excited to get into something that we can prepare for the weekend, for the weekly Parsha, and I know it's the evening, but we can always have a nice little evening espresso. So cheers. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyah bidbaro. L'chaim. Such a lovely evening. Sun is going down here in Singer Island. And this week's Parsha is called Parshat Behar. And it is a very special Parsha. And I like studying the weekly Parsha with you all. I know we did Tanya for a while, but Tanya has a really great, it's almost like the psychology of Judaism and Chassidus, and Parsha is like a very practical, like what's going on this week in Judaism, like where are we at, where are we holding, what are we learning about, what happened in the Torah portion. I mean, like you'll go to synagogue and you'll hear the rabbi teaching and people reading from the Torah, and it's nice to know and be able to follow along with a little insight. So I'm going to share with you all something I learned about the Parsha. Here we go. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope that you're all having a good time prepping for your summer. Okay, Parshat Behar. So we have a holiday coming up, Shavuot, and we all know that's the holiday where people received the Torah. Very special time. And in this week's Parsha, it says, Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe Bahar Sinai Lemor. And God spoke to Moshe on Mount Sinai, saying. So the Medrash relates that there were many mountains that were all very great and all vying to be chosen for this great task to be the site where God would give the Torah to the Jewish people. Yet God selected a very, very small, humble mountain, Mount Sinai, for the giving of the Torah. And we learn from this that there's a very strong value placed on humility and modesty. And the question arises, okay, Mount Sinai was a very small mountain. However, it was still a mountain. And if we were really trying to give the Torah on a site that symbolized humility and just being like humble before others and modest, why not give the Torah in like a big meadow where it's flat and you can, we live here in Florida where we can see like flat all the way across the horizon most of the time. And like I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, where you can always see like the rolling hills and it's so beautiful and you never really know what's coming. And when you live in a flat place, you can see everything. So why wasn't the Torah given on a plain, or better yet, in a valley, where it was going to really show humility and modesty? And it's certainly more humble than a small mountain. So evidently, humility is not the only kind of quality that we're seeking for the giving of the Torah. It's something, we want a mountain, but Hashem was like, I don't want a giant mountain, I want a small mountain. So there's something here that's like, we need something to stand up, to be strong, but not over the top where we're like trying, top the Spitz mountain. So what is this small mountain? The Torah demands from us modesty, but not meekness. We're not meant to belittle ourselves and put ourselves down like a doormat and let the whole world walk all over us. That's not Judaism. And our primary criteria to receive the Torah is humility. When we go to learn, we can't go in saying, oh yeah, I know everything there is to know, and I'm just here to tell me what I already know. Have you ever seen someone walk in a class, like, tell me what I know, I can teach you. No, the Torah is a place where we come with the chachma. What is chachma? Koach ma. It is the power of what? What is there to learn? What is there to be seen? And when we approach Torah learning, and especially life, with this kind of humble I don't know what there is to know. I don't know what there is coming. I'm just here as a humble servant of God. I'm here to serve and love and respect and to know. And that kind of humble curiosity to ourselves and to others and to Hashem is kind of how we approach the Torah. So what happens when we daven? We go to Hashem and we daven, open my heart in your Torah. Let my soul be like dust before all. Humbleness is the key in our Torah study. Yet coupled with this humility, right, it's not enough to just be like, oh, I'm so humble and I know nothing. We also have to have a certain measure of pride and confidence and like Ge'on Yaakov. We need a certain strength in our Jewish pride and in our observance of God's will. You know, have you ever gone traveling and seen someone davening in the airport with their talis and their tefillin and the whole shebang, and it's like, wow, there's a proud Jew. There's someone who's not shy, not ashamed, or on the contrary, they're proud. They're not embarrassed of being a proud, strong Jew. So the very, very first law in the Code of Jewish Law, when we open it up, has do not be ashamed in the face of mockers. The number one step in Yiddishkeit is to hold our heads high, to not be looking over our shoulder, what's this neighbor, that person online, what's everyone gonna say? That's not what matters. What matters is what Hashem says. And when we know that none of the opinions online, millions of comments can scroll by, it doesn't matter what other people say or what other people think, it's what Hashem thinks. Is Hashem proud of me? Am I proud of how I'm portraying Yiddishkeit? And then we stand tall and we're not ashamed of anything that anyone has to say about us. So when we approach Yiddishkeit that way, with a certain strength on the one hand, where we're proud and we know, and Israel knows what they have to do and what's the right thing that's going to be the saving grace, and Mashiach should come now. I'll raise a glass for that. We should have an immediate geula, and everyone, all the hostages should be freed at once, and we should have no more pain and no more suffering and only good news for all of Am Yisrael and the world. So l'chaim. With immediate prayers for geula. Being strong and also having a certain humility and modesty. We must be confident and determined in our observance of Torah and not fazed by adversity or scorn, and just knowing that the whole world is here for us to perform our mission and to be here to bring Mashiach. So therefore, we're getting to the crux of our discussion, which is that the Torah was therefore given on Mount Sinai, the smallest of mountains, but, however, not in a plain or a valley where it would be flat or dipping down low, to teach us something very important, that both of these traits are crucial to receiving and implementing the Torah. We must be humble in our view of ourselves as individuals, and also staunchly proud of our lifestyle of Torah and mitzvah observance. So that comes from this week's Parsha, which is Parshat Behar. And this week's Parsha is very, very interesting. It also goes into a nice law, which I love learning about, and it's called Shemitah, the sabbatical law. And Judaism believes very strongly in vacations, giving yourself a break now and then. We have to put down our tools, and we're so blessed. I always think to myself how lucky we are as Jews. Like, we're given once a week time off to disconnect, to chill out. We're not a slave to social. We're not a slave to technology. As much as we can be on our screens tapping away all week long, Shabbos comes and we unplug, and that's the greatest gift. So in this week's Parsha, we learn about Shemitah, which is a similar law of unplugging the fields. And it's very interesting, even like scientifically, if you go into any sort of study of agriculture, they tell you that there's something called crop rotation, where the fields need to be like switched around every once in a while, and sometimes completely even rested where there is no work being done on the field. And it's, interestingly enough, it's in the Torah as well. Hashem commands us to rest our crops, rest the field. Like Hashem tells the Jewish people in this week's Parsha, every seventh day of the week is Shabbos. On it, you must stop all weekday work. And Hashem also commanded us to keep a different kind of Shabbos. Every seventh year, the land of Eretz Yisrael shall have a Shabbos. In that year of rest, you may not work the earth. So what is the Shabbos of the land called? It's called Shemitah. And the word Shemitah means to let go, to withdraw. And that's like almost the core of bitachon, because what does bitachon mean? It means to trust in God. You know, we work so hard all week, all year. We try to make a livelihood, bring, food home for our families, to cut the check, to make a living. And we trust that it's from Hashem. But sometimes it's very hard to let go and say, like, Hashem, I'm completely in your hands. Like, it's going to be fine if I don't work. Like, who would say that? Like, how can we shut shop and expect to make money and expect to have everything that we need when we're not working, when we're not bringing home the dough, so to speak? That's why the word Shemitah means to withdraw. We must take a step back, as hard as it is. Shabbos, we shut the shop, we breathe, and we say, Hashem, my livelihood is up to you. And it's written that when we keep Shabbos, Shabbos keeps us. And when we kind of say, like, I don't care if I don't make money on Shabbos, Hashem will double and triple our income the rest of the week and the rest of the year. So it's a very special practice of letting things go and letting things be and trusting that Hashem is holding us in the palm of his hand and it's really all going to be okay. And Hashem has us. So what happens in Israel? The Jewish farmers must withdraw from farming the land for a full year. And for those of us who've lived in Israel, we know that during the Shemitah year, you cannot buy local produce. You have to find produce that's farmed in a non-Shemitah land or in a non-Shemitah time. And it's like a whole thing, and like they're labeled because they take it very seriously that the land rests 100% on the Shemitah year. So why did Hashem give the Jewish people this mitzvah? What do you think? We have to remember, why do we keep Shabbos? There's Shamar and Zachor, right? Keep Shabbat and remember Shabbat. We have to remember every Shabbos. Tomorrow night we're going to bring in Shabbos again, the best day, in my opinion. I love Shabbos. And we remember that Hashem created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. When we keep Shabbos, we trust, a Jew is showing, I trust that Hashem is going to take care of me. And I'm not afraid that I'm not going to have money for my family to live on. And I trust that Hashem will provide for me. And it's like, even if the land, the land in Eretz Yisrael, the Jews in Israel have such beautiful, bountiful, rich farms. Even the people who have such gorgeous pieces of land and such beautiful orchards and farms and fruits and crops, we trust in God. We don't put our trust in the earth. And that's why Hashem said, in addition to Shabbos, I want you to keep Shemitah, in Israel specifically. I want you to keep, every time a Jewish farmer keeps this mitzvah, he remembers, Hashem, the creator of the world, is the one who feeds me and my family. And, the people, it's even like in business, the people who have a certain innate, like, sense of calm and peace and trust, and they know that it's like all those people who talk about, I'm sure you've heard the abundance mindset and law of attraction and all these things where we're opening ourselves up to thinking good and thinking positively and trusting and not being like holding on so tight and worried and anxious all the time. When we trust, then all the good things flow. So it's like a physical practice of Hashem says you gotta let go, you gotta just cut off and trust Hashem. So what does it say? It says, Ki savayu el haaretz. Hello. I'm out on Bimini Lane. All our neighbors are having their evening stroll. So here's another espresso sip for the evening. L'chaim. It says in the Parsha, Ki savahu el haaretz. When you come to the land, Asher ani naisen lechem, that I am giving you. Vishav sa haaretz, Shabbos al Hashem. The land shall rest, a Shabbos to God. Shesh shanim Tizra Sadecha. For 6 years you may sow your field. Ubashana Hashivis, and in the 7th year, Shabbos Shabbasen Yol Aretz, the land shall have a complete rest. So it's kind of implying that Shemitah, the law is like beginning from the start, even before the 6 years of the work begins, because it says when you come to the land shall rest a Shabbos to God. The way this statement is opened is that the cycle of Shemitah begins with 6 years of work, followed by a sabbatical year. But it says that when you come to the land shall rest before God. So why is it starting off with Shemitah? Don't we need 6 years of putting in solid labor and then a sabbatical year, a year of rest, a year of relaxation? But no, it says it right away. So there's something beginning immediately upon taking on this commandment. So the Alter Rebbe explains in Likutei Torah about this week's Parsha of Behar that the Shemitah observed in the 7th year must be the underlying theme of the first 6 years as well. So when we put in that work all 6 years, we establish our years of working the land on the ideal that our ultimate goal is the year that is Shabbos to God, that is Shabbos to Hashem. And that year, our freedom from work will allow us to be closer to Hashem, to devote our time to pursue holy pursuits, such as Torah study, such as prayer. And this awareness is something that starts immediately when we enter the land, when we come in on day 1, and we're getting out the garden tools and we're getting the fields ready for crops. That number 1 awareness affects our attitude and our conduct throughout our years of work. It's kind of like when we open up our businesses Monday morning or Sunday morning. In Israel, they start work right away on Sunday. When we start our week, and it's with like Shabbos in mind. Have you ever heard the story? I love this, of like Yosef Moker Shabbos. It's this guy who loved Shabbos, and he would like buy a special fish. He didn't have money, but he would like prepare the whole week long for Shabbos. And it's that kind of, and we'll get to the story another time. It's a really good one. But it's about having Shabbos and Hashem in mind all throughout the process. So then Monday morning comes, we're groggy, we wake up, we go to work. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's not just the grind and like annoying and hard work and like, waiting like 2, 3, 4, 5 p.m. when's the day over and can go like kick back and chill out. It's not just like endless, meaningless work. So many people like live for the weekend, like not in a good way, like they don't enjoy their week. We enjoy our work, we enjoy our week because it's the attitude and conduct that it's Shemitah oriented. It's sanctified by focusing on the goal, which is when we're going to get to be with Hashem, when we're going to get to trust and lean back into Hashem's embrace. And God provides in advance with an abundance of all material goods as well. So, when we build a home and when we raise a family, and if you don't have that kind of lifestyle and it's you in your home with your family of friends or colleagues or whatever you're doing in life right now, the bulk of your day, or if you're a Jewish parent, it may be occupied by tasks that seem mundane. Like, we all have so much on our to-do list, so many things to do. And it can seem like, how is it that different from like a non-Jewish home or a non-Jewish parent or like a regular, human in society? Like we have a joke in our family because our in-laws do that Jewish family, so it could be that Goyish family. It might look the same, you never know. But the mitzvah of Shemitah teaches us that it's not just a regular, everyday kind of life. There's something special here from the very get-go. When a child is born, the goal is set to raise this child to be Shabbos-like. We know the goal in mind from the very first day. We want this child to be free to, when they go off to college, to take their Shabbos candlesticks with them, to have their davening and their siddur and their tefillin with them, that they can celebrate. The whole day is to find that pocket where they can connect to Hashem or be there for another, to grow and thrive in Judaism and holiness, and with no other concerns whatsoever. It's not like we're here because we're loving to make money and work. It's a means to an end of bringing the world to a higher plane, of making it a beautiful place for Hashem and for each other, a world of peace and unity and understanding where we can relate to one another with, harmony and love. So what happens? When we bear this goal in mind from the beginning, it's evident and clear in the way we raise our children and in the way we live our lives and in the way we run our day-to-day. Whether we then we successfully are able, with Hashem's help, to raise children who are truly Shabbos-like, entirely devoted to Hashem and provided for by Him with an abundance of goodness and prosperity. So that is from a Sicha of the Rebbe on this week's Parsha, where it kind of encourages us to take an overview of our lives with Shemitah, with rest, and to think about the end game, the end goal. Like, this world is not meant to be chaotic forever. It's not meant to be a place of darkness and difficulty. bad news and pain and suffering. It's not meant to be that way. We're here for something so much better. And if you look around the world, everyone believes in this can't be it. This can't be the end game. It has to be better. We're working towards a better future, towards a goal of unity and harmony and geula and ultimate redemption. And there's a beautiful teaching. I'll end off with one final beautiful teaching from the Rebbe on this week's Parsha. And it says, V'ki taimru ma nachal b'shana hashivis. And if someone should say, what am I going to eat in the 7th year? Like, it's hard to let go and trust and know that no worries. Like, what am I going to eat? What money am I going to bring home if I'm not working on Shabbos, if I'm not working in that 7th year? And we will not sow and we will not gather in our produce. I will command my blessing for you in the 6th year, and it will yield produce for 3 years. So Hashem's like, it's not just going to be for 1 or 2, it's going to be for 3 years. So what happens is that Hashem promises it's going to be even better when you let go and you lean back and you know that Hashem is holding you and it's all good and you don't have to worry. Hashem provides even more. And I can tell you for myself, in the situations where I'm able to let go and trust and just know that it's going to be good, inevitably it ends up good, because it's just like the power of, hopefully, the power of just thinking really, really trustingly can really help. And it really defies nature. It doesn't seem normal to be able to let go and Hashem will provide, but it is really, really promised to us. And the question can be really strong, but it says that Hashem responds with a guarantee. I will command my blessing to you in the 6th year. It is your simple devotion and your loyalty, despite the weariness of thousands of years of exile, and that will elicit the extraordinary blessings of the era of Mashiach. And I would like to wish us all a Shabbat Shalom, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a good Shabbos, and I'll see you next time. Bye.